And ladies and gentlemen, we are here at the Circuit of the Americas for race number 4. For race number 4 of the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series. It is the Bass Pro Shops Grand Prix from here in Austin, Texas. Welcome here to COTA as we're I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I'm just really excited to get this weekend underway, but we're getting ready to go to determine who will be the 6 drivers that will make the field for tomorrow night's race here at COTA for the 4th race of the season, returning after a 3-week hiatus. First car out on the racetrack is going to be the number 2, that is Martin Nixon, who won the Daytona 500 back earlier in February. Hasn't made the last 2 races, unfortunately, so he hasn't really been able to stand out from his Daytona 500 win, but he does have another opportunity here at the road course here at COTA. You know, originally we were supposed to take a trip over to Atlanta for our 4th race of the season, but after doing a little bit of research and realizing that a racetrack at Texas was not on the schedule, we had to fix that. So COTA is on the schedule for our first road course race of the year. And this is actually the first road course race that WRLA has ever run since, get this, its inaugural year back in 2017 at Watkins Glen. So this is our first trip to a road course in about 8 years. So these drivers, a lot of these drivers that are new, already have that road course experience. But for those that have never raced at COTA, they're going to have their work cut out for them here tomorrow night when we go racing live on Twitch at 7 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow evening. As you see in the background, a lot of other cars have made their way out onto the racetrack, and we're getting ready to go here for our qualifying session. Well, I mean, we're already up and running, but for Martin Nixon, he is now on the clock, and we are going to change the ticker here when we get to tomorrow evening's race. I just have this as the ticker because of my mock series that I always do for the truck series. So the ticker will change back, don't worry. So that way we can look a little bit more professional, but Martin Nixon is on the clock. There's a number 32, that is Nikki Fox, who raced at Las Vegas back at the beginning of the month in March. Unfortunately, she didn't fare too well. I think if I remember correctly, she got involved in what was our first yellow flag of the season through turns 3 and 4 that involved Abby Walker, Nia Steidel, Campbell Marsh, and a lot of other cars as well that just got heavily demolished in that incident in turns 3 and 4. Aaron Abel was another one too. That's another name that pops into my head. But Nikki Fox in her first Pepsi Cup start of the year, unfortunately, just didn't fare out too well. But here we are this weekend, and she's getting ready to try to see if she can qualify here for her second Pepsi Cup start of the year. And her first on a road course. You'll notice that some of these drivers have already put a lap down. That's because a lot of the pit boxes are just behind the start-finish line, so a lot of these laps starting out are going to be a little bit slow. So that is going to be something to keep an eye out for as this session goes on. And because of the length of this track, all these drivers are not going to have a whole lot of time to put down laps, put at least log as many laps as, going into the double digits. But as far as I'm concerned, these drivers definitely know. They definitely know what to expect here when it comes to the road course racing. And I do apologize if I'm not really up to par when it comes to commentary. I just woke up, I just rolled out of bed, and my brain is not 100% working, but it'll be okay. First lap on the board. Well, Nikki Fox, I do believe, is already on the clock, but First lap on the board, first official lap, that would be Martin Nixon, a 2-minute 9-second lap. Currently stands out at the top as of right now. Atikian goes to the top. A 2-minute 9-second. Actually, Bobby Maguire in the 3 goes to the top. A lot of this is going to change, but as of right now, Maguire 2 minutes 8 seconds on the board right now. So far broke into that 2-minute 8-second bracket, the only driver to do it as of right now. Maguire, who ended up making his debut back at Rockingham in February, came up just a little bit short of making his second consecutive start at Vegas. But this time around, early in the session, it looks like he's in really good shape to make it into the show tomorrow. And so does his teammate, Janiah Hill, a 2-minute 9-second lap. 0.094 for her as of right now, but Hill's looking pretty good right now. Inside of the top 6 as Sustry and Josiah Munsell get some good times. Jordan Sumner ended up putting down a really good lap, a 2-minute 9-second 0.017 a lap. So that moves her up to second. Chase McClure right up there in third. Kyler Sustry in fourth. Josiah Munsell tucking in the top 5, and Janiah Hill just holding on by the skin of her teeth. She's 0.6 of a second back from Munsell as far as the top 5 goes, but looks like Janiah Hill could be well on her way to making her first Pepsi Cup Series start on the year. Her first since right around 2023, but now that Nikki Fox has put down a time of 2 minutes 9 seconds 0.059, that knocks her out of the top 6. There's Hill working her way out of turn 19 and heading over to turn 20 this time around. With now coming up on at least 7 minutes to go here in this session. See if Hill's time does improve. It does not, unfortunately, so. But, thankfully, Janiah Hill does have time. She's got plenty of time as of right now, but then again, that plenty amount of time doesn't really make up for the length of, this racetrack. It is about a 3-mile race, right around a 3-mile racetrack, so there's definitely with a lot of turns and a lot of hills and just definitely a lot to navigate through, but it does present a really good challenge for a lot of these other drivers, especially in this qualifying session. So, and under the cloud cover as well, so grip levels are going to be much higher, speeds are going to be up. So it is going to be very interesting as to how the race is going to play out tomorrow night. When we go racing for our 4th race of the year. Hill's still so far on the outside looking in, but as for Maguire, a 2-minute 8-second lap, that's still holding up really strong right now. And he could be well on his way to making his second start of the season. Sumner, same case for her. Chase McClure as well. Kyler Sustry, I believe, could be making his Pepsi Cup Series debut. Josiah Munsell could be making his first start since Daytona. But with 5.5 minutes to go, pretty much anything could change here once we get down to the tail end of the session. But a lot of other drivers that are on the outside looking in. How about not Bobby Maguire, but how about Michael DeFeo in the 60? Made the last 3 consecutive Pepsi Cup Series starts. at Daytona when he won the pole. And he was consistently the fastest driver all throughout the opening parts of the season. But now, coming here to COTA, he's 8th quickest with a 2-minute 9-second .155 a lap under his belt. So something may have gone awry with the Buffalo Motorsports machine of Michael DeFeo. So unfortunately, just that speed as of right now is not quite on his side. Might not have been able to get the setup right, the road course setup to be more specific, right underneath that number 60. So if things kind of pan out the way that they do here for the next 4 minutes, he will definitely have to load up and go home and get ready for Fontana here next week. There's the number 61, Travis Crampton. Right now, 13th quickest, 2 minutes, 9 seconds, but 2 minute point. It is a 2 minute, 9 second .327 lap time for him right now, 13th quickest. So things definitely not looking too good here for Travis Crampton, of course, and neither. The same can be said for Martin Nixon yet again. Those woes of trying to make a Pepsi Cup Series race, especially since Daytona, those do continue after that Daytona 500 win. So, I mean, that probably so far for Martin Nixon, that is the only highlight to his season, but definitely nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's definitely one of the best highlights that you could have for a Pepsi Cup Series season. But, you know, as of right now, for as of right now for Martin Nixon, he's definitely got to get ready for Fontana next week. And same case for Travis Crampton. But I wouldn't count out Crampton at a place like Fontana. That is his home track. So definitely could come in with a lot more experience on his side, more than anybody else. So coming in to about less than 3 minutes remaining here in this session. No times have changed. It is still Bobby Maguire on top with his 2 minute, 8.977 second lap time. Followed by Jordan Subner, Chase McClure, whom we're currently looking on at right now, Kyler Sustry, Josiah Munsell, and Nikki Fox, who would all make the show for tomorrow night's race here at the Circuit of the Americas. And so far for Hill, 0.4 of a second out of the top 6. She definitely has a really good piece of equipment from Maguire Motorsports, so hopefully she is able to capitalize on, maybe on this lap. But we'll see. We'll see what happens here. But then again, not 100% sure, but we're just going to have to keep our eyes peeled and hope and pray that maybe something could change at the tail end of the session for Hill, where she could put down a fast enough lap to break back into the top 6 and make the show, to make her first start since 2023. Back when she and Haley Curris used to own a team, 420 Blaze It. They almost went to victory lane with Haley back in Rockingham back that year, 2 years ago, but Emmanuel Hartnett managed to use the veteran experience to his advantage and went on to take the checkered flag in that race. So far, Hartnett is still the only winningest driver in WRLA as of right now. He has 3 wins to his name, of course, at Fontana, Watkins Glen, and also Rockingham. But there's still yet to be a driver out there that has 2 wins to their name. For example, Emily Anderson, who won at Texas in 2017 and Richmond in 2020, to at least tie Emmanuel Hartnett, if not break that record. We've yet to see that here in WRLA Pepsi Cup competition, and it could very well happen this year. A little bit more time is going to be added, so that way these drivers can put down one more lap. But for some of these guys, 2 minutes on the clock, so at least one more lap could be put down here for some of these guys. But even then, I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. I'm not 100% sure if it's going to be enough. Here's Ajax Fitzgerald, a 2 minute, 9.163 second lap time is what's under his belt right now. 9th quickest, so he will definitely definitely going to miss the show. And we'll have to load up and get ready for Fontana next week. More than likely. Same can be said for Ryan Gundillo, who sits 10th right now on the session. Minute 20 to go. It's still pretty amazing to me of how Maguire is the only driver that broke into that 2 minute 8 second bracket. Nobody else, the only driver that has come close to that, of course, obviously, is Jordan Sumner. Even the 52 of Chase McClure. Both of those drivers, as you can see, are 1/1000th apart from each other. With a minute to go here on this additional time, I'm thinking it might be pretty safe to say, if there are no changes that happen here within these next 30 seconds, we're looking at our top 6 that will move on into the show. $20 seconds left on the clock. And I'm definitely really confident at this rate, with 10 seconds to go, there are no changes that are going to be made. So, with that said, it is going to be official right here. Your top 6 that will move on, that will make the field for tomorrow night's race, is Bobby Maguire, Jordan Sumner, Chase McClure, Kyler Sustry, Josiah Munsell, and Nikki Fox, who will make her 2nd consecutive start in the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series for 2025. As for drivers like Janiah Hill, Michael DeFeo, Ajax Fitzgerald, Ryan Gundillo, Ray Atikian, Joshua Cornish, Travis Crampton, and as well as Martin Nixon, those drivers will have to load up and get ready for Fontana next week. And that's such a shame, especially for Martin Nixon, who has only made one start. And that was his debut race in the Daytona 500, where he went on to win. Hasn't really been able to fare too well since. Michael DeFeo, who has had so much speed throughout this season, in the opening stages of the year, who won the pole, had been consistently at Daytona, who had been consistently fast in the go or go home or qualifying sessions. The last 2 races, of course, at Rockingham and at Las Vegas. Definitely not showing here at COTA, so they may have to go to work on their road course program for Buffalo Motorsports. Janiah Hill, so close. Missed out by 4/100ths of a second. Man, that is such a shame. But as far as our top 6, they make the show. And when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we'll get ready for our qualifying sessions for the main field for the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series, and it's going to be modified just a little bit. So stay tuned. We'll be right back here in just a few.
If you want to watch a stream, you have to be ad-free because he gives you like 3 in an hour or minute. Please just do what he wants and he will give you the victory royale because he is very good at Fortnite. Not really, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he is really good at Fortnite. Yeah, he is good at Fortnite. If you want to watch a stream, you have to be ad-free because he gives you like 3 in an hour or minute. Please just do what he wants and he will give you the victory royale because he is very good at Fortnite. Not really, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he is really good at Fortnite. Yeah, he is good at Fortnite.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back here at the Circuit of the Americas, and I unfortunately have some bad news. So, the track files for the Circuit of the Americas have been set for the field to hold up at least 37 cars. When I go to modify the track INI, so that way I can have the track support a field up to 43 cars, the game crashes every time I load up the track. So, unfortunately, the part-timers are going to have to sit this one out, and the full-time, and it's just going to be just the field of full-timers. So, I do apologize massively for that inconvenience. That just, I was loading up the track quite a few times, and I don't know, because This is, I don't know. That's just ridiculous. Genuinely, that is just absolutely ridiculous. But if these cars are ready to go, let me go ahead and fire this up. Because none of the cars have yet to come out on pit road, have come out onto the racetrack just yet. Well, we should be getting ready to go for Pepsi Cup Series qualifying. Unfortunately, without the part-timers, that's a shame. That genuinely is a shame. Unfortunately, I can't include some of the part-time cars, but unfortunately, in order to have a race at the Circuit of the Americas, that's what we have to do. That's just unfortunately something that, you know, the developer of the track didn't quite nail down, was the capacity of the field, and have that set to 43 cars. That way we could have all 42 on the racetrack and qualifying here with us today, but that just unfortunately is not going to be the case. And I, again, do deeply apologize to the part-timers for not including them in this. Again, that's just the track guy and I. And every time I try to load up with all 42 cars on the grid, the game crashes. And for whatever reason, there's a bunch of frame droppage here. But as long as it's not too bad, then I think we should be good to go. But first car on the racetrack, as you can see, this is number 43. This is Aaron Abel, who wound up going out of the race early at Las Vegas for our first yellow flag of the season. Definitely not the way that you want to end a race at Vegas, especially early on in the season. But but for Aaron Abel, looking to turn that around. At least the one thing that I think Aaron Abel can be 100% proud of is one of his cars definitely did go to victory lane back at Vegas, and that was Skylar Taylor, who broke through and got their first Pepsi Cup Series win, not only on the season, but also of their career. So again, huge congratulations to Skylar Taylor on that win. And hopefully they can go back-to-back here at the Circuit of the Americas here at COTA. So these qualifying sessions are going to be just slightly modified. Of course, we're going to have all 42 cars on the racetrack, all 36, I should say, on the racetrack. Unfortunately, subtracting the part-timers for this weekend, but they will be back at Fontana. I can promise you that. All 36 cars are going to be out on the racetrack. They're going to be putting their laps down. And the top 12 will move on to the final round for this session. And that's going to work the same way when we get to Martinsville in a few weeks' time, later on in the season right around April, I should say. What's going on, Jaden? How we doing? Hopefully you have yourself a good Friday. Good start to your Friday. So far, starting out, I mean, as far as these unofficial laps go, Valkyrie Atikian stays at the top with a 2-minute 12-second lap time. Then Andrew Miller, Noah Clifton, second and third. Stephen Colon, who was our former points leader after his win at Rockingham, currently sitting fourth. Tanner Parton completes the top 5. And I actually did lie there for the stat on the road courses. The last time that the WRLA went road course racing was at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park just 2 years ago in 2023. And that saw Tanner Parton go to victory lane in very dominating fashion for Otter Island Motorsports. So, do apologize for that little hiccup there when it comes down to the historical stats. I'm not sure how else to really say it, but as far as for Tanner Parton goes, looking to try to add on and try to get his second Pepsi Cup Series win on a road course. He's definitely proven to be very, very strong on road courses in his rookie season, despite how young that season went. Who knows? Tanner Parton could be a threat going into tomorrow night's race here at the Circuit of the Americas. First official lap has now been put down. Aaron Abel goes to the top with a 2-minute 9.156 as of right now. Parton goes to third, 2-minute 9.187 second lap time as of right now. So your top 12 currently holding on to that bubble spot is Sebastian Vaughn, 2-minute 12.380. And now that actually 383, I should say, for Sebastian Vaughn as he gets knocked out of the top 12. But this is going to change more and more and more as this session goes on. With less than 5 minutes remaining, Russell Blaze goes to the top with a 2-minute 8.804. So he would be well on his way to moving on to the final round. Be very, very well on his way. How about that, though, for Russell Blaze? For Durrani Racing, he's definitely done a very good job in the opening parts of the season. Wound up winning the pole, if I remember correctly, wound up winning the pole for Las Vegas. Ended up performing pretty strong throughout that race and ended up taking home a top 10 finish. And managed to do it again back just at a previous, at another track, of course, at Rockingham previously, before Vegas. But this number 69 team has definitely shown a good amount of speed in the opening parts of the year. And so far, heading into COTA, he's definitely carrying a lot of that speed and definitely doing a really good job here in this opening part of qualifying. And he will move well on his way into the final round coming up here in just a few minutes. So far, holding on to that final transfer spot is Noah Clifton with his 2-minute 9.102 second lap time. Four 1/1000ths of a second ahead of points leader Zachary Fitzwater, which we will reveal those points to you guys for those that might have missed it and are not in the WRLA Discord tomorrow night when we go racing here at COTA for our 4th race of the season. Two and a half minutes to go. Less than that now. Top 10. The rest of your top 12 goes as follows. Of course, obviously with Russell Blaze on top of the charts and also Noah Clifton rounding out the field as of right now. So Valkyrie Atiki would be second. Then Kyle Craven would be third. Sitting in fourth, that's Rogel Dorn, Blaze's teammate. Terry Walker completes the top 5, followed by Emily Anderson. The 85 of Zachary Taylor. Then Nia Steidel is broken into the top 12. 2-minute 9.76 for her. She'll be well on her way to the final round. Followed by Roberto Crown Jr. 9th and Claire Phillips completing the top 10. Sebastian Vaughn breaks back in. Of course, both drivers, Clifton and Vaughn, have the exact same time. Probably the only difference is the millionths of a second bracket, which obviously NR doesn't really count that. So they just tie it. They just tie the times, pretty much, if the drivers get the exact same time. But so far, I really don't see any other changes happening as inside of the top 12, let alone outside of that. So all these drivers, where they're at right now, this is where they will be starting if they are 13th or below going into tomorrow night's race. And there will be some added time for these drivers to put down at least one more lap. But unless if anything changes, and unless if there's a driver that does put together a good enough lap time and a good enough speed to knock somebody out of the top 12. I really think there's going to be no changes. Probably, if anything, the only driver that I could probably see having a legitimate shot at breaking into the top 12, that would be Zachary Fitzwater. He is practically right there. 4 1,000ths of a second out of the top 12, outside looking in. So it could be very interesting as to how that's going to play out here within these next 2 minutes. Here's Nia Steidl in the number 6. Wounded up flipping at Vegas over by turns 3 and 4. That took her out of contention and definitely took a huge hit in the points standings as well. But for Steidl, right now in this qualifying session, she's doing a pretty fantastic job. She's well on her way to moving on into the final round. So for Steidl, I am definitely very much so hoping that she is able to turn. I'm very much hoping that she is able to turn what was a very miserable weekend at Vegas into something golden here at COTA, and hopefully nab her first Pepsi Cup Series win. She has shown a good amount of speed of that, especially back at Rockingham, where she had a really fast setup underneath her race machine. Took home her first top 10 of the year. And fingers crossed, hopefully, we do see her in victory lane. There's a lot of drivers, pretty much every single driver I do hope goes to victory lane this year. But of course, with so many races and with so many races and so many drivers in the field, we can only have at least 23. And so far, 3 of those spots have been filled up. Of course, Martin Nixon in Daytona, Stephen Colon at Rockingham, and just recently Skylar Taylor at Las Vegas. Speaking of, with 15 seconds to go, you might wonder exactly where is Skylar Taylor as of right now. Well, Taylor currently sits 32nd on the charts, and that is where they're going to be starting, unfortunately, for tomorrow night's race. But your top 12 looks like this heading into the final round. That is Russell Blaze, Valkyrie Atikian, Kyle Craven, Rogel Dorn. The 48, that would be Terry Walker, Emily Anderson, Zachary Taylor, Nia Steidl, Roberto Crown Jr., Claire Phillips, Sebastian Vaughn, and Noah Clifton all move on into our final round for the Bass Pro Shops Grand Prix knockout qualifying here at the Circuit of the Americas. As for the rest of the drivers, that's pretty much where they'll be starting, from 13th on down. And there's a look at that right there, where all the drivers are going to be starting here for tomorrow night's race here at COTA. But as far as the top 12, congratulations for making it into the final round. And when we come back, those drivers are going to be set to go for the pole here for the Bass Pro Shops Grand Prix, our 4th race of the season. Stick around. We'll be back here in just a few.
If you want to watch a stream, you have to be ad-free because he gives you like 3 in an hour or minute. Please just do what he wants and he will give you the victory royale because he is very good at Fortnite. Not really, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he is really good at Fortnite. Yeah, he is good at Fortnite.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the Circuit of the Americas. We are getting ready for our final round of qualifying from here at the Circuit of the Americas here at COTA. We have made it. We now know the 12 drivers that will be fighting it out for the pole here for race number 4. There's Russell Blaze in the number 69. First car to pop up on pit road. But these drivers, of course, 10 minutes on the clock. Still have yet to see somebody make a move to get out onto the racetrack. But this is actually, I'm actually excited for this race, to be quite honest with you. I mean, of course, with the misfortune of, the part-timers that are unfortunately not going to be able to make it onto the show because of how the track INI had been set up and how many cars that this track can support, which is incredibly unfortunate. And again, massive apologies to the part-timers for not being a part of this race. All those part-timers, they are going to be at Fontana. And I might try to figure something out for them. I mean, given the fact that, that we know the 6 drivers that were supposed to make the field for this race. So I'm thinking about probably including them for the next race, but we'll have to figure that out. But either that or we'll probably just run everything as normal. But nonetheless, the part-timers do get a little bit more of an extended break, unfortunately, and I do really feel bad about that. So, but we'll have them ready to go here for Fontana next week, and that's actually gonna be a really fun one. Before we get to that point, we got to focus on this weekend. Here's Emily Anderson in the 4. She hasn't had the best of starts to her season this year, but I would say the only funny highlight that she's had this year was Stephen Colon pushing her to her pit box when she ran out of fuel at Las Vegas. So that definitely makes the highlight reel for 2025 when it comes down to WRLA Pepsi Cup competition. For Emily Anderson, she is looking to turn her season around. Remember, she is a 2-time winner in her Pepsi Cup Series career. She won at Texas in 2017, and she also won at Richmond in 2020. Both, of course, driving a Mountain Dew machine, but has yet to go to victory lane with the Haas Automation colors. Maybe that could change here for 2025 as Emily Anderson is on the clock. She begins her lap here. There's Russell Blaze coming out of turn 20. This would more than likely be to begin his lap here at the Circuit of the Americas. Well, actually, he just put down his first lap. First unofficial lap, 2-minute 12.504 to unofficially open up the session. or at least open up this round. Atiki unofficially to the top with a 477 to her name. But there's still going to be a good amount of cars that have yet to make their way out on the racetrack, and so far they have. There's Kyle Craven in the 28. Claire Phillips and Nia Steidel both have put down unofficial lap times, but that will change as this session does go on. But one thing that is actually going to be pretty interesting, yes, starting up front here on road courses is going to mean absolutely everything, because you will have that track position and you will have the pretty much the upper hand. But the one thing that could still throw a monkey wrench into everything are the pit stops. The pit stops we've seen, especially in the McDonald's Cup Series at Sonoma last year. Pit stops have thrown a pretty good monkey wrench into everything. Of course, if I remember correctly, Nathan Stapleton had wound up starting on the pole for that race. But somebody started on the pole, if not Nathan Stapleton. But which pit stops did put a damper on Stapleton's day, but it definitely helped one John Felber go on to take the checkered flag and to nab his so far one and only McDonald's Cup Series win. But things could still very well change. I mean, pit stops, you never want to count out any other drivers, especially when you get down and get really good pit stops, and it puts you right in the helm of pretty much the helm of things when it comes down to trying to win your first Pepsi Cup Series race. For Emily Anderson, it could be to try to win her third, a 2-minute 9.551 second time for her. For Russell Blaze, 4/10 faster, a 2-minute 9.120, trying to go back to back when it comes down to starting on the front row here in the Pepsi Cup Series for Russell Blaze and the Durrani Racing entry. Valkyria Tikian goes to the top, 11 1/1000ths of a second quicker than Russell Blaze. Nia Steidel to the top with a 2-minute 9.020. How about that for Nia Steidel? All the way to the top of the charts, 4/100ths of a second back. That's Noah Clifton with a .060 to his name. Noah Clifton once again fast in qualifying. Can he close it out? Well, he is going to, well, from the most part, here's something that's actually kind of funny. Zachary Taylor goes up to second on the board, but with a .40. Well, up until Terry Walker broke that, pretty much the top three were all separated by 20/1000ths of a second from each other. How about that? That actually is that was actually pretty interesting to look at. But Terry Walker to second on the charts with a .033 to his name. All the drivers are within a 2-minute 9-second bracket. But for Nia Steidel, so far, it is on pace to win her first Pepsi Cup Series pole of her career. And hopefully, as far as her case, hopefully it leads to her first Pepsi Cup Series win after 34 laps of action for tomorrow night's race and a couple of pit stops to play a pretty decent role in the event. But of course, for Steidel, hoping that the pit stops are on her side as far as the speed and the strategy goes. And hopefully she has a good enough setup underneath her race machine to go to victory lane here at COTA for her first Pepsi Cup Series win. 2 minutes to go. There's a lot of drivers here within this top 10 that are looking for their first Pepsi Cup Series win other than Nia Steidel. Of course, we have Terry Walker. We also have Sebastian Vaughn, Roberto Crown Jr., Valkyrie Atikian, Russell Blaze, Rogel Dorn, Claire Phillips. The only other drivers that have managed to win one or more races are 4th and 5th right now. Zachary Taylor won at Michigan in 2023 to open up that year. and Noah Clifton, who has won at Rockingham in 2020 and on the dirt at Bristol in 2023. But as for the rest of these drivers, they are looking for their first Pepsi Cup Series win. And here's another stat that's actually pretty interesting to look at here. As far as the EGI cars, 3 of them are in this session. Wayne Lopez didn't fare too well in qualifying, so he's going to start towards the back end of the field. But as far as for these drivers, as far as for all 3 of the EGI cars, where they fare out, of course, Steidl on pace to win her first Pepsi Cup pole. Claire Phillips, who we're looking at here, is going to qualify 9th from the looks of things, and Emily Anderson would round out the top 12, of course, in all places, 12th. So not the best qualifying run, in this round for Emily Anderson, but still a pretty good start for her nonetheless. 15 seconds to go before we get an additional 2 minutes to the clock. That way these drivers will have enough time to put down at least 1 more lap to try to lock in a good enough starting spot, or to try to go for the pole if you are in contention for it. But I really don't see anything changing here. Nia Steidl trying to turn around what was a miserable weekend at Las Vegas to try to nab her first Pepsi Cup Series pole, and hopefully on top of that, her first win. The closest she's come so far is at Rockingham earlier back in February. Now trying to capitalize on the momentum that she had back at the Rock and a little bit of Las Vegas. And fingers crossed, hope and pray that she does go to victory lane along with a lot of these other drivers. Every driver with the equal setups underneath these cars, everybody has a shot to go to victory lane. But again, no further changes inside of this top 12 with 1 minute remaining. So pretty much your top 12 would look like this, with Steidl on the pole. Terry Walker would line up alongside. Then it would be Zachary Taylor and Noah Clifton, Sebastian Vaughn and the 21 of Roberto Crown Jr., Russell Blaze and Valkyrie Atikian. Flip those, by the way. It would be Atikian and Blaze for row 4. Then Claire Phillips, Rogel Dorn would complete your top 10. Then Kyle Craven and the 4 of Emily Anderson. But with 20 seconds remaining, there's pretty much going to be no changes whatsoever. No last second efforts to try to go for the pole. It pretty much at this point, you could say it's official before it's even official. Nia Steidl will lead the field to the green flag tomorrow night here at the Circuit of the Americas for race number 4 on the schedule, which will be broadcasted live at 7 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow night, only on Twitch. Huge congratulations to Nia Steidl on this run. She will lead the field to the green flag tomorrow night for the Bass Pro Shops Grand Prix. Terry Walker is going to line up alongside. This is his best start yet. Noah Clifton, once again, fantastic speed throughout the qualifying sessions. He's going to start top 5 yet again. Russell Blaze, a good run for him. Not exactly the way that he was hoping for this session to pan out, but a top 10 nonetheless, a top 10 starting spot nonetheless for Russell Blaze. Roberto Crown Jr., great starting spot for him. Sebastian Vaughn looking to try to break out from the bottom of the points bracket. Man, a lot of good starts for a lot of these drivers. So some of them that are looking for really good days, really good points paying races. to try to catapult their way up through the point standings while they're still able to. They have a really good opportunity. Nia Seidel's one, Sebastian Vaughn's another. There's a good amount of drivers that are towards the bottom of the point standings that could definitely use some really good runs and all the points that they need in order to catapult them up in the standings. It's going to be a pretty interesting race tomorrow. I can't wait. 34 laps of action. Lots of pit strategy is going to be on hand. And it is going to be a very fun evening tomorrow night here at COTA for the Bass Pro Shops Grand Prix. Huge congratulations one more time to Nia Steidel on the pole win. If you guys like this, be sure to give this a like, and if you haven't considered subscribing yet, recommend you do so in order to keep up with some fine content coming out in the near future. When the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series returns, we'll be live for race number 4 of the season here at COTA, the Bass Pro Shops Grand Prix, which will be live on Twitch. So if you want to go follow the Twitch, the link is in the description. One more time, congratulations to Nia Steidel for the pole, for her first career pole. She will lead the field with the green flag. And that's going to do it here for qualifying sessions at COTA. Have a great day, everybody. Take care, stay safe, and we'll see you on Twitch tomorrow night for race 4 of the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series.